Om Namah Pranavartaya Suddha Jnanaekamurtaye Nirmalaya Prasantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Arunagirimupetam Satchidanandamurtyam Ramana iti Prithivyam Vishrutam Jnanasuryam Gahana Hridaya Vidyam Leelaya Bodhayantam Satatam Ahamameyam Sadgurum Samsmarami. My humble pranams. We will continue from where we left last time in Devi Kalottaram, the 39th verse. Ishvara says, Nidrayam bodhayet chittam vikshiptam shamayet punaha pakshadvaya parityage samprapte naiva chalayet. Bhagavan's translation, Urakkatinindrum unartiduha chittam Uril Chalanam pinnar udukai Urakam alayvu ennum ivirandum atra nilai utral Nilai idanil nichalamai nil. A few more verses of this nature are going to follow. They're all tips for sadhana. What normally a sadhaka encounters in his sadhana, they're all being addressed here. So here Ishvara says, Nidrayam bodhayet chittam. When one sits for meditation or Atma Vicharam, it is the experience of almost everybody that one falls asleep. The reason is, mind has to hold on to something. Without any support, the mind cannot survive. So when you are going to empty the mind of everything, it has nothing to hold on to, and then it collapses into sleep. Because that is the only other state that it knows. Either it is very active, or when activity is deprived, then it gets into the sleep mode. So here he says, Nidrayam. When Nidra overtakes somebody, don't worry about that, because this is very normal. Bhagavan used to say this also. You don't have to feel very sorry that, I went to sleep. You are making progress. You are able to control the mind. You are able to empty the mind. That's what it shows. You are making progress and you fall asleep. When you fall asleep, you can't do anything at that time, but you will wake after some time. When you wake up at that time, once again start the Atma Vicharam and see to it that it does not expand. Vikshiptam shamayet punaha again. Vikshiptam, when the mind becomes, starts becoming active and start projecting. I said vikshepam is the act of projection. Vikshiptam, when it starts projecting again, when it starts moving again, at that point in time, once again notice that and start emptying the mind of all the thoughts. This is constantly one has to do. He says, Pakshadvaya parityage. When both the sides, one extreme is going to sleep, other extreme is going into the mode of thinking all the time. These are all two extremes. Pakshadvaya, these two pakshas, these two, sides of your sadhana, you have to give up. You have to reach a balance. Pakshadvaya parityage samprapte. When the balance is achieved, at least for a brief moment, there will be a balance where it is neither sleeping nor is it expanding. Is it quiet? It is very quiescent. At that point in time, see to it that it is not started again. Pakshadvaya parityage samprapte, when these two things are completely rid of, at that point in time, naiva chalayet, don't start it again. So these are all the greatest tips. Actually, this particular verse is very close to, almost word for word, in Mandukya Karika, that extraordinary book on Vedanta written by Gaudapada Acharya, the Karika, the commentary that was written on Mandukya Upanishad, which itself is supposed to be one of the highest of Upanishads. There, this particular verse occurs in a slightly different manner. It comes in the 3rd chapter. There, Gaudapada says, Laye sambodhayet chittam. Same, bodhayet, sambodhayet. Laye, layam is a word for dissolution of the mind. A temporary dissolution. Permanent dissolution, we are not talking about. No, a temporary dissolution of the mind is called as layam. So, layam is another word for nidra or sushupti. Laye, when you get into the sleep mode, sambodhayet chittam. Start the chittam. Make the mind awaken. Get the mind, rise up. But you rise up and then immediately put a break because otherwise it's going to run away. Put a break immediately. Vikshiptam shamayet punaha. Almost the same words he is using. Vikshiptam shamayet punaha. Sakashayam vijaniyat. This is another thing that he is giving. Another hint that he is giving. Sakashayam. Kashayam is desire. You will notice that some desires are rising up in your mind while you are doing the meditation or Atma Vichara. These are all based upon our interests. We are not able to get rid of some interest that you have already accumulated, but don't take on any new interests. That is one thing that we should do. Don't get involved in anything new. Anything new in the sense, laukikam. Things that are worldly in nature, don't get involved in any fresh ventures. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. On the one hand, you want to, reduce the amount of, the mental load that you are having. So the only way to do that would be not to get involved in any new interests. So what the same thing has been mentioned by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He says in the 6th chapter, Dhyana Yogam, he says, Sankalpa prabhavan kaman tyaktva sarvan aseshataha. Sankalpa prabhavan. When you have a sankalpam, I want to do this, that's it. That will start off 1 million thoughts, not less than that. I want to do this. So much will happen once you have a sankalpam of this nature. In fact, sankalpam of this nature, this wanting to do something, I have to do this, I have to get this. This kind of a thing, what gives you the next birth also. So having a sankalpam, I want to go to the temple is also a sankalpam. I want to go to satsang is also a sankalpam. During this time, it is not possible to avoid it. It's a good thing. But there is a time when everything is a sankalpam. And unless we watch for it, that's why he says sakashayam vijaniyat. When there is a desire in the mind or a sankalpam in the mind, be alert and then immediately register, oh, this is what is happening. When you are really doing Atma Vicharam and the Dhyanam in a proper manner, you will get to know what are the things in life that are really attracting you, because your mind will be going after that. If one goes, there will be another thing to take place in its place. Another thing will come. All these things you notice so that these are the weaknesses of my mind. My mind is flowing in these directions. Vasanas are nothing but grooves, mental patterns. They are all grooves in your consciousness. So thoughts will start flowing in those grooves. Just as in metallurgy, you want to mold something, you pour metal, you go through some grooves, and then it falls in various places and you get a shape. The shape of all our desires and our, they will all take place through these grooves. So these mental patterns are something that you need to be aware of. At some point in time, you need to keep on reducing them. They say, I don't want to frighten anybody here. They say that reducing the thoughts, the load of the thoughts, is like sitting in the shore of a big lake and taking a spoon and trying to empty out the water in the lake. In fact, there is one scholar who says it's an ocean. One thing that we should do is, first of all, new water that comes into the lake, that at least should be blocked to start with. Otherwise, there's no use at all. It'll keep on removing and then it'll keep on accumulating. And it'll accumulate more also. These are some of the things that people keep on saying. No, it's like taking a spoon and emptying the water of a lake. So anybody who is really interested in the Atma Vicharam, in meditation process, and then making a progress, all of us are interested in that. We should remember we make some ordinary mistakes that we should not make. There are totally useless interests that we have in our lives, if you really watch. Totally worthless, totally useless interests. I don't want to go into the details. Each one of us have some interest on the other. It varies from person to person. Sakashayam bijaniyat, says Gaudapada. When a desire rises, when there is a sankalpam, notice that. And you should register that and then in a very careful manner, try to avoid these other things. One by one, if you are able to cut down, then it becomes accelerated. Even if you enjoy the peace of the self, even for a second, whole forests of vasanas will get burnt off. Even for a second. That is the power of the self. It will burn up the vasanas. Completely burn up the vasanas. So the more you are able to prolong, so many lifetimes you can save. That's what it says. So, pakshadvaya parityage samprapte naiva chalayet. What really starts, we are able to reach a peaceful state. What starts the process again? There is a big engine running. That engine is powered by the causal body. Causal body is the place where all the vasanas are accumulated, and that is what we call as avaranam, the one that is covering us up. The self is all the time covered up. As I suggested, that self-forgetfulness is also a nidra. Smriti vibhrama nidra. This the forgetfulness of the self. So this nidra or this causal body or the darkness that is enveloping us, this particular thing continuously powers up the engine called as the mind. Arunachala Ashtakam, in one of the Ashtakam, Bhagavan says this. What is collected here, like a shadowy stuff, uses the word nidal. Shadowy stuff, they're all there. We have no access to them. They all come out, and in the consciousness, the light of consciousness, these vasanas that are coming out, they project the world. The world is not really real. They're all there inside you. They are all slowly coming out and they are projecting the world. So if you really want to ensure vasana kshayam, then see to it that we are alert to desires in our mind while doing the meditation. They will come up, really come up. That is when we know that we have got weaknesses of this sort. Otherwise, we have no way of knowing. They're all hidden, totally hidden. And that is the reason why it becomes very, very difficult. In a sage's presence, they come out automatically. He has the ability to pull it out. But in the absence of that, we need to work out something ourselves and do it. And some of the tips that are given are this. When you sit for meditation, it is better that we invoke the presence of a sage like Bhagavan. Invoke the presence. Utter very, very sincerely in a shloka or anything that you would like. On Bhagavan, on Arunachala, in Tamil, in Sanskrit, whatever it is. Invoke the presence. Believe that you are sitting in the presence of Bhagavan and doing Atma Vicharam. Mind has that power to take you to that kind of a presence. You can practice the presence of sages. Upasana actually means practicing the proximity of Lord. Upa asanam, you are sitting next to Lord. That's what it means. Sitting close by. You are practicing the proximity of Bhagavan. Try to do that. These kinds of things will be helpful to set the correct mood for our Atma Vicharam. Second thing is, sleep comes mainly because of food also. The food that we take. Sattvic food, Rajasic food, Tamasic food. Tamasic food will take you to sleep. Rajasic food will make the mind active. So avoid all those things if we are very sincere about making a progress in this. And then see that we eat sattvic food, and that too, mita aharam, sattvic aharam and mita aharam in moderate quantities. So when you avoid overeating, this stupor, this kind of sleep-like things, you will be able to avoid. So that is what is recommended by everybody. So if you do some of these things and then make an adjustment in our life, don't do Atma Vicharam when the body is very, very tired. It will not be very successful because the body's tendency is to go to sleep. So you should have moderate exercise, not tiring yourself constantly, moderate food, everything moderation, taken in moderation. Our interests are in moderate level. These things will definitely improve the quality of our Atma Vicharam or the meditation. So here, the laye sambodhayet chittam dikshiptam shamayet punah sakashayam vijaniyat. Identify, notice those desires, those sankalpas. In the words of Lord Krishna, the sankalpas that are rising, I need to do this, and all the desires that are coming up, this and that, once in a way, those things, and notice them, work on them, and try to avoid them. When you do this, it is possible to get a balance. That once, even for a brief moment, if samadhi overtakes you, it is going to really accelerate your progress quite a lot. Sakashayam vijaniyat samahpraptam na chalayet. Samahpraptam, that balance. Not this way, not that way. That balance is samadhi. Balance is perpetual alertness. Highest of states, perpetual alertness. Alertness to see even the smallest movement of the mind, you are able to block it. And you are able to see that I should not fall into sleep. So this kind of, it is like, walking on a razor's edge. Razor's edge is a good example given in Kathopanishad. Churasya dhara. Chura is a knife. Walking on the knife. How alert, how careful one should be, how light one should keep on step, and so on. This razor's edge, I don't know how many of you know, it came out as a big novel. A great novelist by name Somerset Maugham wrote this novel. He wrote it after he met Bhagavan. He came to Ramanashram. And there he met Chadwick. And he had some experiences there and so on. So after going back, some of the characters in Razor's Edge can be identified as somebody who has been, somebody he has met in the ashram, and so on. Anyway, the novel is not important. He gives the quotation from Kathopanishad in the beginning of the novel. Razor's Edge, why he named it as Razor's Edge, is such a difficult path. You got to be alert all the time. That alertness comes by doing all our arrangements for our sadhana in a very clever manner. And then each one of us will have to identify this and do it in our own manner. So he says, Pakshadvaya parityage samprapte naiva chalayet. Alaivu urakam alaivu ennum ivvirandum atra nilai. Utral, if you are able to get this, idanil nichayamaha nil. Stay in this. And don't see that the motor called as mind gets started again. Completely deprive that engine of all thought processes. It's a very difficult process, but it is. We get encouragement from Bhagavan in this manner. He says, even if you make the slightest effort to quell one single thought, to suppress or kill one single thought, it will go a long way, he says. We should do that. And that is when the progress will be seen by us and felt by us. Progress in spiritual life is the unwanted thoughts. How many of them are removed from your mind? Unwanted thoughts. That is the measure of the progress of our. Otherwise, we will not know. We'll be like anybody else and then we'll not know. We ourselves will. I've been doing this for the last 40 years, nothing has happened. One measure is how good are you in getting rid of unwanted thoughts in the mind. 90% of them are unwanted thoughts, if you ask me. Some of them are really required. He does not want you to change your station in life. He does not say that you have to go to a cave or a forest and then or to some retreats in order to get all this thing. Not necessary at all. You have to do only a clever integration of your daily routine with these things and then paying so much of sincere attention to whatever has been said by Bhagavan. The next one, very, very similar verse. Nirashrayam sadachittam sarvalambana varjitam manovastha vinirmuktam vigneyam mukti lakshanam. This is known as Jnaya Mukti. That is wisdom gained through Jnanam. Mukti gained through wisdom. That is known as Jnaya Mukti. So he says here, Nirashrayam sadachittam sarvalambana varjitam. Nirashrayam, ashrayam is a support. Nirashrayam, don't take any support. This includes japa, dhyana, everything. What we are supposed to do is concentrate only on the self, your own conscious presence. The sense of I that is constantly present within you, you pay attention only to that and nothing else. If you are not able to do that, by all means, take up japam, take up dhyanam. It's not completely prohibited, or you should not really get into a big, conflict. I am not able to do that. Bhagavan says that, do this. What can you do? Bhagavan has not said that. These are all meant for mature people who are able to do, who are fit enough to do Atma Vicharam. Then do it this way. For them, these are the instructions. Others can also get into that groove by slowly progressing and integrating all these things, other things. Nirashrayam sadachittam sarva alambana varjitam. Alambam is again a support. Sarva alambana varjitam manovastha vinirmuktam. Manovastha, the activity of the mind. Vinirmuktam, free yourself from the activity of the mind. When you do this, whatever wisdom comes out of that, that will lead you to mukti. Vigneyam mukti lakshanam. Mukti, that is gained through wisdom. Bhagavan's words are Ashrayam indriyadai achittam dan என்றும் மாசு அற ஆலம்பமெல்லாம் அற்றதாய் Pasha mana avasthai. Bhagavan uses an extra word. Pasha mana avasthai. Manovastha alone is mentioned here. He says attachment driven manovastha. Pasha mana avasthai mannidamai Jnaya Mukti tanadu ilakkanam dan tari. This is what is known as Jnaya Mukti. In Mandukya Karika, the very next verse, the verse next to Laye Sambodhayet Chittam, the very next verse is also again very close to this. I mean, these texts may have really borrowed from each other. They might all have grown. It's not possible to say whether the Agamam came earlier or Gaudapadacharya made the commentary. Not really required. But each one is supporting the other viewpoint. So here, the next verse in the same third chapter, Karika, Gaudapada says, Jnaya Mukti, he gives a definition. Swastham, swastham, keeping the mind in the heart. Swastham. Shantam, attaining the peace. Sa nirvanam, nirvanam is the state where all the desires are totally eradicated. Akatyam, it is not possible to talk about it. Don't try to describe it. While you are doing this vicharam or meditation also, let's not try to analyze what is it that is happening to me. It will once again start some process or the other, one thought or the other will keep on going. Akatyam. Don't try to describe it. Don't try to define it. Just enjoy it. Just experience it without any mental definition given to that. Akatyam. Sukham uttamam. The greatest of Sukham comes from that. Ajam, it is unborn. This wisdom is unborn. It is being there right from the beginning. It is going through now and it will continue to be there also. There is no time element for it. Unborn. When we say Nityam, eternal, all these things are not extension in time. Because we are used to time, we say 1 year, 1 billion years, 10 billion years, a trillion years, like that. It's not an extension in time. It is going beyond time. In the deep sleep, we go beyond time. That is eternity. When you are not having any concept of time. So the concept of time itself is gone. So we are not counting how many more years it has lived for so many years in the past. It is going to live for so many. That is not what it is. Eternity is not that. Eternity is going beyond time. So here, Mano, Ajam, Ajena, Nyayena. Ajena, Nyayena. This is the Nyaya Mukti definition. It is unborn. This wisdom comes to you by this analysis, and then you are going to go and then embrace this awareness and then stay in that awareness. This is the Nyaya Mukti. And he says, Sarvajñam Parichakshate. And once you touch the core, go into your own consciousness, you are touching the core of the entire existence. Because the center for all existence is the same. When you go inside and touch that existence, that point, which is called as Hridayam or whatever it is, that core of your existence happens to be the core of everything around you. That is why Jnanis, how do they know things? This is a question that we have. How do they know things? What comes to my mind is the story of the Peru couple. A couple from Peru. Once they believe they came, even the language was a great struggle for them, all the way from South America. And in their faltering English, the gentleman in the evening, I believe, was telling Bhagavan how they saved money. How many years they saved money. They wanted to see Bhagavan. They wanted to be in his presence. And he was mentioning about what all, efforts he had to make, what all things he had to sacrifice to save money, to pay for the journey to come to India. So Bhagavan listened to all the things. Everybody was impressed in the hall. But after listening to the whole thing, it seems Bhagavan said, you need not have come here. You can feel my presence everywhere. These people were puzzled. What is it that Bhagavan is saying? Is he criticizing us? You could have stayed where you were. Bhagavan must have noticed that, yeah, they were a little upset about this remark of his. So after some time, I believe, he started asking them, your city, is it not close to the seashore? They said, yes. So you go to the beach every day, right? They said, yes. The beach, there are a lot of marble columns, long columns that are there all along the beach. They were shocked. Because having the name of the city and then seeing that it is a beach and other things is okay. There are a lot of marbles on the beach side. Yes. And there are also benches in between those marble columns. They said, yes. How does Bhagavan know all this? And you have a preference for one particular bench and you go and sit there every day? I said, yes, Bhagavan. Then in a flash, they realized, when Bhagavan said that you could have enjoyed my presence wherever you were, this is what he means. Sarvajña, that knowledge, it comes very easily. Only thing is, he does not exercise that mind. But he knows what goes on in everybody's mind. Everybody's, when Humphreys, the first Westerner, who went to him, he was taken by Pranavananda, actually. And he used to ride a motorcycle. He was a sub-inspector in Vellore, first policeman who went there. Who, on one of the occasions when he visited, it was a very long ride and it was a very a hot day on that day. So he reached Virupaksha. Virupaksha is a very cool place. So at that time, he went inside and then sat in front of Bhagavan. See, Bhagavan looked at him and called an attendant and said, give some coconut water to him. And then when the coconut water was given to him, he was very, very thrilled because he actually wanted water at that time. He wanted to ask somebody. But even before he kind of made that wish vocally, it was given to him. And when they kept on giving him something, at one point in time, Bhagavan told him, no, enough, don't have to give. And at that time, he was really fully satiated. So he knew when he needed it, he also knew when he did not need it. So these things are picked up just like that. That's why it said here, Ajam is an unborn wisdom. It is going to be there eternally. Nyayena sarvajñam parichakshate. The person who touches the core and knows the wisdom of the universe, he knows everything about the universe. That's what it is. The 41st verse. Sarvalambana shunyam cha. Again, he uses the same word. Sarva alambana shunyam cha. Dharayitva mano hridi. Yat jnanam jayate spashtam. Tat abhyasaparo bhavet. Bhagavan says, alambam ellam aravitte. Give up all props, all supports. Manathai Elatharipittu means in a very fixed manner. Elatharipittu Idayate salat tulakkamai evvarivu thondrumo agdu palakkave endrum palagu. Keep on practicing this sarva shunya vastu. That is, nothing in the mind is a thought-free status, mind-free awareness. Practice this mind-free awareness. Yat shunyam. Whenever he says shunyam, that shunyam is shunyam of the mental activities. Everything in the mind is given up and only awareness remains in that. Remain established in the heart is possible only with vasana kshayam. As I said, it is not possible. When there are vasanas, even if you are able to reach the heart, you will be thrown out again. You will not be able to stay there for long because the vasanas are so powerful, they will pull you out. You cannot really manage that. That is what is happening to us all the time. This vasana kshayam is the most important thing. In Viveka Chudamani, there is an entire section on Jivan Muktas. There he makes a very beautiful verse. He comes out with a beautiful verse. Leena dhirapi jagarti. Leenam is to get lost. Mind, buddhi. Dhi is buddhi. Leena dhirapi jagarti. Even when the mind is not working, he is alert and he is awakened. When the mind is not working, we sleep. Whereas a Jivan Mukta, when the mind is not working also, he is very alert. In fact, the most alert person in the meditation hall was only Bhagavan. All the others were in a, Trishankku Swargam, neither here nor there kind of a thing. So Bhagavan used to watch and then, he looks as though he was looking at the space, but then he would know everything that goes on in the thing. He was very alert all the time. Leena dhirapi jagarti yo jagrad dharma vivarjitaha. But at the same time, he has given up the jagrad dharmam. What is jagrad dharmam? Jagrad dharmam is to catch hold of something or the other. That is jagrad dharma. All the time, our mind will be catching hold of something or the other. The technical word for this, anyatha grahanam. We catch hold of something which is other than us. Instead of staying in the subject, we create an object and catch hold of that. And move from that object to another object. It is known as anyatha grahanam. So Jagrat state, the state of awakened, this waking state, is characterized by anyatha grahanam. This anyatha grahanam is given up. Yo Jagrat dharma vivarjitaha. Bodho nirvasano yasya. His bodham is nirvasana. Then only he will be able to stay in the heart. If he has got even a bit of a vasana, he will not be able to stay there. 54 years Bhagavan stayed in the body. in that state of Sahaja Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi, people can come out of it, Bhagavan says. Why do they come out? Because of the vasanas. They are not completely gone. Only when a Jivan Mukta, who has completely eradicated all the vasanas in the heart, will be able to stay in the heart. Even a bit of a vasana will pull you out and then take you out of your state. Bodho nirvasano yasya Jivan Mukta Ishyate. He is called as a Jivan Mukta. There are many shlokas in Viveka Chudamani towards the end, which describes, and each one of them fits like a glove, as they say, to Bhagavan. Every single verse. You take Bhagavad Gita, or Viveka Chudamani, or you take any Grantham, whenever they discuss about a Jivan Mukta or a Jnani, you analyze what is there, and then you say, yes, Bhagavan was like that. Leena Dhirapi Jagrati, awake all the time. But mind was not working. Jagrad Dharma Vivarjitaha. It does not really have any thought at all. Bodho Nirvasano Yasya Sa Jivan Mukta Yishyate. So all these verses are indicative of a great state. To remain established in the heart is possible only with Vasanakshayam. Mind dissolves only then, never to rise up again. The mind has to dissolve there, the place where it is created. Constant inherence in this state is needed for perfect, unshakable knowledge, says Bhagavan. I am just reading from a talk, one of the talks. Mind's attachment, he says, is death. Bhagavan says in one place, attachment of the mind is death, because you are killing the Brahman, Brahmahati. Brahmahati takes place by having attachments. So, how many Brahmahati dosham we are accumulating all the time? Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita the same thing. Manasastu manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. It is the mind that binds you, and it is only through the mind you will be able to liberate also. He is your friend and also your enemy. Frenemy, they say nowadays. Your friend also an enemy. Make him your friend. Make use of the mind to come out of the mind. Only with the mind it is possible to go, because that's all we have, isn't it? Any other tool do we have? Nothing else. We do not know what pure consciousness is, though we are experiencing it all the time. We always experience it in a mixed manner, a composite mixture of consciousness and insentience. Jadatvam, Chaitanyam and Jadam, together only we experience all the time. So mind alone we have, but make use of the mind in such a manner that you liberate yourself. Go seek the company of holy people. That is within our capability. You may not have anything else, but seeking the help of holy people, go sit in their presence. That's why all these things, one by one, slowly, it is possible to reduce it. And the very fact that people have come to this fold, hearing about him and coming to his fold, listening to the narratives of his life and other things, I think several janmas we have really overcome in that process. Our great good fortune. But having come, we should make use of this fully. Make use of this fully, and then try to do within the limitations that we have. We don't have to really struggle a lot and then say, this is what is happening, I'm not able to go. Don't struggle. But within the limitations that we have, cleverly work out all our life circumstances, balance it in such a manner that unwanted things we do not take up. And whatever is recommended, go there, sit there, do Parayanam, do meditation, do Japadhyanam, Puja, everything you do, also do Atma Vicharam. Make a practice of all these things. And then you will be able to slowly overcome all these attachments. Bhagavan says attachment is death. Slowly overcome all the attachments so that finally you are left in that state of Sarvalambana Vinirmuktam. All the supports are taken away from you. The mind is able to concentrate purely on the self, and you will be able to reach the thing. Up to some extent, you go, Bhagavan walks the rest of the distance and then grabs you. That is another thing that we should really remember. Bhagavan has said this many times. You take 10 steps, he will come. You don't have to seek a guru. Guru is in search of you. If you are sincere, Guru will come to you in some manner or the other. Somebody will give a book. Today I was listening to Matangi was telling us somebody instructs in some manner, some book comes, something or the other, somebody talks about it. We hear so many things like this in our lives. And these are all the methods by which he is pushing you into the thing. And it will happen ultimately. So without losing any of our confidence, we should continue with that. Alambam ellam aravitte, he says, give up everything completely. Manathai yela taripittu, in a fixed manner. Keep it. Idayate salat tulakkamaya varivu tondrumo. Tulakkamaya is immense clarity develops at that time. There's unshakable. There is no doubt at all. This is what it is. Even if you have the confidence that this is the path for me and all other paths are contained in this, even that is a great progress in life. That kind of a unshakable faith. We don't have to really go around looking for this path or that path. There are so many different, yogis are coming, and then so many, all of them are okay. They're all doing good in their own way. But having come here, you don't have to really look around. The kind of shopping around we should stop doing. Spiritual super malls. All these things are not necessary. Everything that is there. And interestingly, all that he has said, every one of the words that he has said is totally in conformity with whatever Vedas and Upanishads have said all these years. You cannot find any kind of a divergence at all. That's why he translates all these things, because they are in total agreement, whatever his experience is. He translates them all and then give it to us. It's a great precious work that is being handed out on a platter to us. Tadjnanam jayate spashtam. It becomes very clear, and there is absolutely no doubt in your mind that this is to be followed, and you will follow it and then get it. Tat abhyasa paro bhavet. Practice this. Ishvara's advice to Parvati Devi is practice this, because only by practice you will be able to get it. And you should experience, not stop with intellectually understanding. Experience it. Because Advaita is an experiential thing. It is not a philosophy, to be worked out in the mind, to be understood in the mind. Yeah, you'll be able to talk about various, jargons in Vedanta. You'll be able to give good explanations also. But experience should come. It should reach the heart, and there you should experience. And once you experience that, then there'll be no looking back on the whole thing. Endrum palagu. Keep on practicing this all the time. So, as Lord Krishna says, our mind can be a great friend in this. Make use of the mind in this manner. Stop.